Ebiom, Miss also air Kaimo said, Oswald Wellness LSC, as is a whoop health practitioner, and I say primary care manager, but me manage your weight, and also say be IV hydration. So far as you within the DMV area, not just DC, Maryland, Virginia, and now say Ohio, the state of Ohio, no, phone number 513-268-2740. Then your money kita home. Na bibia beko so kama so ama. Na this will be Tatap send. Other romantic and then they did you made the airbra or time with Tatap send where USA and Canada version or just a USA for the Canada and a carbon near the bro. But also a camo biom saying me boy chebia ye the lawyer if Canada ba ye ba Bernice air boy ama yet me as solicity lawyer from Canada. Tenya ba Bernice said that was so na me sa so bibia onim lawyer bia or ye Canadian lawyer bia Miss Row. Let us know. And I say, any resource person that wants to come on board, let us know. Like in your Bema Inak, we're able to bring the Cashman last week, Mr. Mark Samuels. So if you have anybody, let us know. Just be part of our HITV WhatsApp chat family. Message us, and we'll be able to communicate with you offline to take care of that. Startup send it easy, fast, and secure. Such a convenient way to send money back home. Download the app on Google Play Store, and now say App Store. No, now we are all the promo code in Ashim after signing up. PK P-KAY. We been $20 last week. Make $15, but director corrected me. Into no make how say $20. I was even falling myself short. $20 niche no better so enya o amoboto back na also the true news pedede into the misrao. Onyanya ya why so ama obusuafo so enye na bibia enye fe enye kaba meda ase yakopon kwaso anka me no me no ho sabre o share link no ye be ma direct
tap for the SCC there be a family based app obia use and I just say what album medal table so be a rather ma na just say obi no ahwem no hu the echo sa so na tap no eda obia phone so nti ofa phone na just say that so kakraka kakra bi na PK me can manage much of our time. Said people will be complaining about the rates, right? So I want to talk a little about the rates. What follow Ghana news, about our economy, You already heard it said the government can say or intervene or be intervening. If you see the rates dropping, you should know that the intervention is ongoing. Inti say who will be sending Mr. Ramo. When sending is a yes, ochina ebe drop him ama wa bambibu. Intina momienya. I know some people are not happy with it, but one thing I see when say see the news jina a black country no. And as service to Ghana nti app tap send ye dwene Ghana ho nti ye hu sa no so a good thing for us, although I was think a cost na yetimi microphone nya big rate bi na yenye sika, but mind you ye dwene Ghana ho, so we are doing this for the nation Ghana ntina and also a basa na we see a bohun de ro ne ka say see the no so gain strength, it will help us. Anyway, another thing so we all should know ni say kosua no de ye papa PK minim so de wanya bia me de mapaya minya na me say me kire obi so empire o kire no a boy ya ne dem no bi enya 5 euro $5 me ye bia minya ma try se see start cry me try afa nti abusuafo obi bia so betimi apai kosua no yegusun so a ye hyehye enema owo kwan mu a ebeba promotion bi ebeba just on the way nti monye crowd se eno so eba mo be ade ba ko a mesere before am the last one betwa to and say obia say obia to say tap back is back. We came back last 2 weeks ye gidi say busuafo mu nyina mbeboa na ma communicate ma kan chengrofo because mo ana mama tap aye de aye nti na yenim ho agro kra nti na ye hyehye programs we anye hwe no, you be educated, you be informed. PK is also doing well, bringing on people, resource personnels almost every week he be our some fees and all because of your customers. We love you too much. Inti mo so mo and now spreading the news said tap send is back. Last one I'm the big query. Last week I think we promised our customers say obi bia or di obi buy no ye be bibi strong their mom. So when you're ready, now mon crop farm go buy mon share link and mon for now it do Q&A session now we'll be talking about it. And we prove not just we diamba and kwam nti na just say ya fan from hono nti piki kakra ye woma abusuafo no eno.
All right. Yeah, that's any updates from Taps and ebusiafo ma moka say Facebook link no. When you about my producer Edi Hunjuma di kama links ni be air live. But again, so when you Facebook link na ko YouTube they are live. We are live on YouTube right now. So Instagram ni Facebook for now. When you about my BBI beba sisia ebaya need the tools so amount. Until like I said, either do Zoom or the YouTube HRETV on YouTube for now. And BBI beko so kaba. Sabri director yadase with the updates now or the amount no. You better call for your speaker no aba. Na I feel the money there'll be so much time for questions and answers. Those of you who are familiar with our speaker knows that he's a very interactive speaker. He loves to engage because he's a professor. He teaches. So he loves to have that kind of interaction to make sure that people are apprehending and comprehending whatever he's delivering. So today's section, as usual, this part of the session will be strictly in English for those of us who are not familiar or conversant with the Tree language. Then after that, we'll have the Q&A session with Tatapsen. So if you have any specific questions or concerns concerning your app, sending money back home, or whatever it may be, please stick around whilst we take care of that with Uncle Jimmy during the Tatapsen focus or the Q&A with Tatapsen. All right. With that being said, let's go and welcome our guest for tonight, Professor ANDOR.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome once again
yes,
to
HRTV.
It's always a blessing. It's always a blessing to have you. We wish to have you every day because we know you have a lot of knowledge to, drop for us, or you have a whole repository of knowledge kind of caved in to just disseminate to the rest of us, and we are very proud and glad to have you to be part of our resource team. So
thank you.
There are a lot of issues in marriages, and there are a lot of things and a lot of faculties in marriages, but one of the major ones that researchers have proven to be one of the most leading cause of divorce is dwete, shika, ega, kawukudi, sika. So we want to know, how can we manage finances together in marriages so that people's home can be stabilized? Over to you, Jolati.
All right. Thank you so much. In fact, yeah, you mentioned it is one of the top causes of marital conflict. In fact, it makes it to the top 3 when it comes to marital conflicts. In other words, when people are fighting in their marriages, you can bet that in most cases one of the issues is money, and it is because money is a very important part of our lives as a people. We literally live on money. That is what we do. And so just as money can make or break you, so can money make or break a marriage. And most of the time, when we talk about money making or breaking a marriage, it is not about money not being enough. It's not about how much or how little you have. Most of the time, it is about how that money is managed. So people actually break up. I mean, they get divorced in marriage because of too much money, and they also get divorced because of too little money. So it is not like, okay, when we say money can break a marriage, we are not saying that money will break a marriage simply because there's no enough money, the woman is poor, the man is poor, for which reason the spouse is leaving. No. Most of the time, it is about how that money is being managed. Now, the nature of marriage is such that marriage brings you and your partner together. I mean, that is what it is. It is a legal union, and it brings the two of you together. So when you are in a marriage, one would expect that there should be what we call financial harmony. The two of you should be able to, as it were, harmonize financially. So when there is financial harmony, it automatically leads to relational harmony. But then when there is financial tension, when we are unable to come to that understanding, that harmony between myself and my wife, between myself and my husband, it leads to emotional tension. So you are in the marriage, everything is okay. I mean, communication is on point, the sex is good, the person is romantic and all that. But there is no harmony in your finances. You disagree on so many issues, so long as your finances are concerned. The moment that is happening in a marriage, it leads to tension. So you get angry for no reason. And it is not because your husband is bad. It's not because your wife is bad. It is simply because it appears there is disharmony. It appears there is tension in your finances. That is the problem. And of course, somebody coming from the biblical perspective, it is there. Two cannot work together except they agree. So it is always important for, that kind of agreement, that kind of harmony within a marriage. So that is, how I will introduce this discussion and say that in reality, money issues form the top 3 causes of marital conflict. Marital stress, or financial stress, or if you have issues in money, it can affect your communication, it can affect your intimacy, it can affect your trust. But if you manage finances well, it brings the two of you together in a kind of unity and a kind of cohesion that you become, you are happy in the marriage simply because both you and your spouse, both you and your partner, are able to agree financially. So it is very, very important to have that kind of understanding in marriage, where we manage our finances and we do so well. All right. What I would be talking about tonight, I'll be touching on financial, or what I would say, money differences. All right. Remember, I am talking about managing it in a cohesive manner, in a harmonious manner. So if we are talking about harmony, then definitely we are coming from a point of differences. It means that we are different. So I'll be talking about differences. And then I will move on to talk about how, in the midst of our differences, we can do joint financial planning, where we can do things together. I'll talk about communication and transparency. And then I'll talk about some other elements such as debt management, that is if we have the time, debt management, and then aspects of how we can handle conflict when there is. So this is what I am going to be looking at tonight. For the differences, one major difference that we can talk about is the spender versus the saver conflict. Let me explain. When we talk about the spender versus the saver conflict, we are talking about differences in ideologies. There are some people who are more spending than saving. We call them the spendthrift. The moment there is money, they want to go to the mall, they want to go shopping, they want to buy this, they want to buy that, they want to buy that. And so whatever money comes, majority of it is used in spending. And there are also those with the saving mentality. They feel like, hey, when money comes, you don't spend everything, you save the bulk of it so that you spend the rest. If we have a marriage in which the two people are from these two different mentalities, there is conflict. So if I have a wife who is a spender, so my wife thinks that, your back pay has come, your allowances have come. I mean, that money that we're not expecting, the December 13th month salary has come. Oh, then I need to buy those shoes. I need to buy that hair. I need to buy this. Before you realize, all that money is finished. That is the spender. Now, here's the saver who thinks that, this is money that I hadn't planned for. This is money that just came. This is an allowance. This is something that, it's more like extra money for us. Since that money has come, you know what? Let's put it down. Let's put it aside. Let's save it for the future, for some project and all that. These two people will always have conflict because one has the saving mentality, another has the spender mentality. And then we have the risk taker versus the security seeker. The risk taker versus the security seeker conflict. Who is the risk taker? The risk taker is the one who thinks that this is an opportunity for us to make it. If we invest in this business, we are going to make it big time once we get the dividends of that investment. Therefore, let's do it. Let's put this money. We have 500, we have a million, we have this. Let's push it into this business. Let's push it into this maybe fund or whatever. It is a risk to invest in certain ventures. But this person says that I am a risk taker. I believe in taking the risk. And so, come on, let's do it. Let's go. But if such a person is married to the security seeker, married to somebody who thinks that, this is too, this one is too risky. What if we lose the money? What if they run away with the money? What if it is a scam and all that? These two people together in marriage will always have financial conflict because definitely they have different ideologies, different attitudes towards investing money or putting money into certain ventures. And then we have the planner versus the spontaneous spender. So this one is a bit different from the spender-saver conflict. This one is about, yes, we want to spend the money, all right, but what we intend to do about the spending is that we want to plan towards the spending. So let us put down a budget. Let us write it down. The money has come. We want to buy A, B, C. That's what we want to buy. That's what we wrote down. The whole of the year, that's what we have had in mind that we want to buy. This money has come. Let's spend it on what we have in plan. The other person is a spontaneous spender. Even though we plan to buy A, B, C, I also find X, Y, Z important. We need it. And so let us rather go for X, Y, Z. That is a spontaneous spender. These two people will have conflict. So the conflict here is with what we should use the money for, what we should spend the money on. Should we go as planned or should we spend spontaneously? When you have these differences, the first thing you need to do is that you need to understand that your spouse, your partner is different from you. And that is what most of the time people fail to understand. It's the first point of understanding. Put it in your mind that your partner is different from you. You should understand his or her perspective and respect that perspective. It is coming from somewhere. It is coming from a certain background. It is coming from a certain upbringing. That is what has made him so. That is what has made her so. And so you should be able to understand and respect that person's personality. Where we normally fail is that we do not even, want to understand that somebody else is different from us. We want to make the person to accept our ideologies. But you are two different people. You are a spender. That person is a saver. Understand him. You are a risk taker. That person is a security seeker. Understand her. You are a planner, but that person is a spontaneous spender. You need to come to terms with that fact. And then when you have come to terms with that, you will better understand the person when the two of you decide to plan together. Remember, it is marriage, and one of the principles underlining marriage is oneness. It is something that many people fail to understand. You are married, yet you are living separate lives. It is a problem. However, if it works for you, that is fine. But ideally, marriage should make you want to plan your lives together because you are living your lives together. But in this life that you are living together, because you are married, you are intending to make sure you discuss, you plan together in everything, including your finances. So what are your financial goals? Short term, medium term, long term. What are those financial goals? What do you want to achieve financially? Oh, I want to be able to save and invest my money so that by the year 2027, I will make $1 million. That is your financial goal. Fair enough. So how much do you earn every week? How much do you earn every month? How much do you get in a year? So if you get X amount every year, where do you intend to invest it so that by the end of 2027, you will be able to get your $1 million? That's your financial goal. Short term, medium term, long term. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Discuss it. Let your partner know what you have in your head. You see, some people have in their head that I want to make $1 million by this point. And this person, aside that plan, which is in his head, there's nothing else. There's no discussion. It's in his head. For that reason, he doesn't want to spend on certain projects or certain things. The wife or the husband who is living life together with you does not know what is in your head. And therefore, the person may be demanding for this because he or she probably knows how much you are bringing, how much you earn. So you earn $10,000 a month. Why can't we buy something that is worth $3,000? Why can't we buy it? But the person does not know that you have decided to save $8,000 every month because you are aiming towards $1 million. The person doesn't know. And so at the end of the day, you have only $2,000 to spend in a month. I don't know how possible that will be, but that is what you intend to do. Your spouse does not know because you didn't discuss your financial goals. So it is important to discuss them. And when you have discussed, it will become clear that, okay, between me and my spouse, we have come to an understanding that this is our income, these are our expenses, and this is our savings. income, expenditure, savings. Income, expenditure, savings. That should be clear. And well, you see, you don't necessarily have to say that, okay, we are doing it together, but it should be clear. I'll be talking about transparency in a bit. It should be clear between the two of you. Remember, we are talking about, I started by talking about harmony and how that helps to make the marriage work. And then, of course, when you have made that decision, when you have outlined your income, your expenditure, and your savings, you can now decide on how you will do it together. Do you intend to do a joint account? Or you intend to have individual accounts? Or you want to have individual accounts plus shared accounts? Or do you want to do a hybrid model where we have a joint account, but we also have individual accounts? This is something that the two of you need to sit down and plan together. There is no model that we can say that this is the ideal and that this is what should work or this is what you should do. There is no panacea. What you should do is what should work, what will work for you. There are people who do joint accounts and it works for them. There are people who do individual accounts and it works for them. The question is, what will work for you and your spouse? Decide on it and let it be something that the two of you have agreed on. And also note that whatever you agree on is not written on rocks. It's not Persian law. It shouldn't be something that cannot be reviewed. You should do regular review. Okay, last quarter, we planned that every month we will save X amount. We have been saving X amount. Has it been working for us? Has it been good? Does it help? Or is there need for us to do a review? Should we decide to save more than we are saving? Should we decide to reduce the savings? Do regular review, either weekly, well, it can be weekly, but maybe monthly or quarterly or even yearly. Just do a review. This should be done as a team because that is what we do in marriage. We work together as a team. All my discussion here is about ensuring that you don't let finances to destroy your marriage. That is the point. If you are living alone, these principles work for you alone. But if you are in a marriage, it should work with the two of you budgeting as a team activity. Now, the reason this is important is this. In marriage, I've mentioned the principle of oneness. Another principle that comes in handy here is transparency. You are not two different people. You are one. I understand that in some marriages, by virtue of the way they practice things, they live as two individual persons. But no matter what you do, so long as your marriage is concerned, the two of you are one. Therefore, be open about your income. Be open about your debts. Be open about your spending habits. Be open about your expenditure. I mean, those things. Openness. And this means that you should know, you should have that kind of open communication. Transparency. You are buying this for you. Yes, it is for you. But why are you hiding it from your husband? Why are you hiding it from your wife? And that, so you see, at the end of the day, when your husband sees that, okay, you bought this and you kept it as a secret from me, eventually it would now lead to some kind of discontentment. The person may not complain, but what it means is that my wife, my husband is hiding something from me. So you need to make a conscious effort to be open about it. Again, make sure you avoid financial secrecy or hidden purchases. I think I've mentioned this. So that you are not in any way hiding anything. And then, of course, the two of you should together set spending limits. Mutual agreement. It is your money, yes. You are the one making it yourself alone. Yes, we agree, we understand, and it is well appreciated. But because you are in a marriage, it wouldn't be a bad idea to say, you know what? If I am buying anything that is more than $200, let's talk about it before. Let's decide together before. That will keep you from, overdoing things, so that the two of you will work together as a team. And because you are a team, you need to ensure that certain things work out as a team. So there are some things that, whether you like it or not, you should be able to do together. Some of them include saving for emergencies, saving for education of your children, saving for retirement, saving for future projects. I have mentioned 4 things. These things it will be important to save together for emergencies, so that both husband and wife know that we are keeping X amount, and it is for emergencies. It is for that moment when one is seriously sick and we don't have anywhere to tend to, and we need to pay for that operation. We need to pay for that medical emergency. We are saving, putting something down for that. We have children. These children will go to school. What are we doing for them? Are we keeping some money for their education? Saving together for the education of your children. For this one, I tell even couples who don't have children yet to decide every month or every week, depending on how often you get your money, put something down for the kids, for their education, because it will come in handy one day. Saving for retirement. If God permits and you live long, you will go beyond your active years. When you are outside your active years, if you don't have any investments that will be paying you passive income, you will need to depend on something. And that, pension money may not be enough. So when you retire, what will you spend? You and your husband, you and your spouse, you and your wife, what will you spend? Are you doing something for your retirement? And this is important because the two of you are planning to spend your life together. Therefore, you know that when we retire, we will be together. Remember, all these things that I am saying actually involve a marriage in which we are happy with each other and we want to continue to live in this marriage for the rest of our lives together. Most of the time, people want to, they are not so happy in the marriage, so they don't even think about, doing things together. But apart from saving, another thing that families should do, married people should do, is investing. So it is not only about saving the money, but it is also about investing it. Recently, I was speaking somewhere and I told them that if you find a nice opportunity, investment opportunity, it's a good one, it pays well, you will be a wicked person, you will be selfish not to discuss that one with the most important person in your life, whom you say you love. You've seen a place, you've seen somewhere that the investment opportunity is good, and it is not something that is too risky, but it is good. When you put this amount, maybe at the end of the year, you get this percentage increase, and it is compounding and all that. It is good. You have a wife, you have a husband. Why don't you sell the idea to the person? Why are you doing it alone? So when you are thinking investment, think of also investing together. Learn about the opportunity together. Seek advice together when needed. Of course, when we are talking about investment, I always tell people avoid the get rich quick trap, the pyram, that type that makes you feel like you become the richest man in the world.
You mean the Ponzi schemes?
Ponzi scheme, that is the word. You should avoid those, because this is, I earlier talked about the differences, the risk taker and then the security seeker. But when it comes to marriage, you need to play it safe. Avoid such schemes and try to make sure together you seek advice, together you take the opportunities together, you learn together, and then at the end of the day, you will be able to get to that point where the two of you are happy with an investment. Another aspect that I will touch on before I drift towards closing is the issue of giving, generosity. When I'm talking giving, these are some of the things that we need to be able to work on. Giving for the cause of your religious organization. So let's say you're a Christian. The two of you go to church, you believe in tithing, you believe in offerings, you should be able to agree on how you do it. Now, I have had instances where some couples, one is a big giver in church. The other wants to be cautious. The other thinks that I should be able to, to keep something for the family. The other one thinks that, oh no, I should be able to, to give, sow a seed, and then I'll be blessed. Your faith is important, but so long as marriage is concerned, you should be able to, to agree and understand how your giving will be, so long as the church, so long as your religious beliefs are concerned, so that you don't carry all the family savings and take it to the church, or you don't also say you are not giving to the church and you are keeping everything in your family savings. You need to be able to agree on that. Again, you should be able to agree on giving to family and other charity causes. You are living in Canada, you are living in the US, you have family back in Ghana, and you think that you want to send money to them through tap send. But should you all just wake up and then tap send without your husband, without your wife knowing about it? If it is something that you have agreed on, that okay, up to this limit you can send without me knowing or without us discussing, that is fair enough. But when all your money is used in supporting family and there is no understanding between you and your spouse, it becomes problematic. So you should be able to agree in marriage on how you support family, how you support other charity causes. You are sending money to a children's home, you are sending money to the prisons, you are sending money to a hospital, to some cause that you want to do. You should be able to understand and agree. And of course, because we are talking about family, you need to be able to teach your children by living a good example. Let them understand what you do and inculcate in the children some of the principles that you are operating on. That is very, very important. So when there is discussion on these things, we have these things and then we are discussing, by all means, there will be a disagreement along the line. And that is what we call conflict. What should we do when there is conflict? I want to use the money to buy ABC. My wife wants us to use it to buy XYZ. What should we do? This is how we can handle financial conflict. Listen attentively without judgment. You should tell yourself that I am not the repository of knowledge. I may be wrong. Well, I think that this is what we should do. I think this is what we should invest in. I think this is how we should go about it. But I may be wrong. Therefore, I want my wife, I want my husband to know. So let's talk about it. I want us to talk. So first, I want to listen to you without judgment. I want to hear what you have, because I know that you also have some sense, and you have that sense to share with me. So let me hear you. And then I also think that I want you to hear me out. So I listen without judgment. I also speak without making it sound like I am the source of all knowledge. When we have brought these two views together, the two of us will now focus on the solutions. Not to blame, not to look for loopholes, but let's look for the solution. What then can we do? So that when I have told you what I prefer and why I prefer that, and you have told me what you prefer and why you prefer that, together we will be able to analyze it and say, oh, you see, we didn't consider X, Y, Z. We didn't consider this and that and that and that. Oh, together we will now say, okay, then let us not take this decision. Let's go for this. It now becomes a collective decision. When it becomes necessary, seek counseling. Look for a financial aspect and get the counsel. When there is conflict, my dear friends, listen without judgment. Focus on solutions. Seek counsel when needed. So that when you are able to get that united front, you are not going for a win. You are not going so that I'll win. Yay, we argued and I won. No. You are going with the good of your marriage, of your family in your head. And you are going inside that, the two of you will be able to have a vision. You'll be able to do something that will actually serve the collective good. Remember, when I started, I said, when there is harmony in your financial habits, financial planning, financial vision, when you have the harmony, you have a happy family, a happy marriage. So you are aiming at that kind of harmony. And once you have that kind of harmony, you should be able to be happy. What have I been saying? I'm trying to end. I want to leave enough time for questions and all that. What am I saying? I am saying that money is important. You need it. When it is in your marriage, it is good. But financial issues in marriage do not rest on the availability or the inavailability of money. It is mostly about the management. And if we want to manage it, we need trust. Trust your partner. We need teamwork. We need transparency. And once we are able to do this together, that kind of unity will strengthen your marital bond. It brings you together. And you should make sure you start small. That kind of cohesion. Want to do it together, want to, stay consistent. And as you move on, you move towards that point where you know that in your marriage, there is financial harmony. In your marriage, there is no secrecy. In your marriage, you are transparent. In your marriage, you are operating on oneness. And based on that, you will be able to have both a happy financial home and, of course, a happy marriage. And my dear friends, this is where I end my discussion. I will be on standby for questions and discussions, if any. Thank you very much. Good evening.
All right, Prof. You just basically that's a lot. That's a lot. I have a couple questions for you. Again, usually my questions are reserved when our viewers have all the questions because I feel like their questions are more, you know, I don't want to say respected, but are more important than mine. So please make sure you put your questions in, and also if you want to raise your hand and speak, just put the click on the reactions emoji and put your hands up, and we'll unmute your mic so that you'll be able to speak. Um, If you have any question, you want to type them in. I'm checking the chat room right now for questions. And those of you on YouTube and Facebook, please don't hesitate to drop your questions. We have posted the HRTV link, and in case you're not part of the HRTV family, please click on the link and be part of our family so that we can all basically, consume some discussions in terms of finding the topic to be treated here on this show. So click on the HRTV link to become part of the family. Also, okay, Director Danny dropped the chat room for the Friends of Tatopsend. If you want to be part of the Friends of Tatopsend platform, to please click on that, and so that you can discuss anything that has to do with Tatopsend. So please be mindful of the two platforms and what its purpose is for, so that we can go ahead and keep that in mind. Managing finances in marriage. Partner A wants to be able to go out there, very industrious, ambitious, go-getter, wants to get it. Partner B, very chilled, wants to make sure that, hey, money is saved and money is kept. This is the case whereby you're now on joint, joint account. Or even if you're on joint account, that means there's one that is traveling, is assuming all the money as they keep, going on the road. And the other one back home, who is more reserved or the saving type, is hoping that this money stays. But if you do not go out there to get it, there will not be more to bring back home. How do you address that scenario? Based on all the breakdowns that you've given us, how do you address that scenario? That's the first question coming from an anonymous person. Well, I'll mention his name because he always be trying to be anonymous. So Steve asked that question. So how do you go from there?
All right. So if I get a question, the understanding is that partner A is more like, let's keep the money, and partner B wants to spend it. Is that the point?
Opposite, not spend per se, but partner A is ambitious and industrious, likes to be on the road, likes to go meet investors. Oh, there's a conference going over here. This financial thing that people be doing. Oh, there's a financial conference going over here. Then they will just go try to sign up, try to know more, be a part of it. Then maybe it didn't work out. They come back home. Hey, there's another business going over here. Let's go to Texas. Then just traveling to meet people, network, and also see how he or she can expand. In this time, the partner A is the female, based on the little bit that I know about the story. And the partner B is the guy who wants to just be chilled, just be home, and just save everything. Not even try to invest, not even trying to build, not even try to set up any business. Basically, just invest. And the funny thing is, both of them make so much money, right? So now, how do one goes with this?
All right. So I think I'm getting the picture here. The truth of the matter is that this is a matter of background. You see, I outlined three main differences: the spender, saver, risk taker, and this is more like a combination of those two. All right. So it's not like the person is a spender per se, but the person is an explorer, trying to make sure she explores everything, every aspect. Oh, okay, we have to make this, we have to invest in this and all that. And this other person thinks that, oh, we have what we want, we have what we need, we are content. We have a roof over our head, we get food to eat, we get to pay bills, and we should be okay. There's no need to run around and do this. The first step is understanding who your partner is. So who is my partner? And where is it coming from? Definitely it's coming from somewhere. And most of the time it's coming from upbringing. Which home did she come out from? The father is a this. The mother is a this. Oh, okay. Then it means that it is coming from the upbringing, because she grew up, because he grew up seeing the father doing this or seeing the mother doing this, the person has grown to have or to hold this type of mentality. And that is the first thing. So the person is already keeping in mind that I have been able to grow. I have married somebody who has grown to have this type of mentality, or this is how the person is like. And because this is how the person is like, I understand him, I understand her. When we begin from the perspective of I understand him, I understand her, it makes it easier. But where the person's attitude and the person's way of handling money is annoying you to begin with, it is already annoying you. What type of lazy man is this? That he's not ready to, to go all out and do this and that and that and that. It's already annoying you. Or what type of woman is this? In Ghana, we say Sikanibre person is this, who is so much interested in, too much money here and there and all that. If you don't strive to understand the person's background and why the person is doing that, you will not be able to come to terms with that, and it will lead to conflict. But once you begin from the perspective of, okay, I understand you, I understand your perspective, but I also need you to understand my perspective. Now let's talk about it. And let's be able to get to, a middle ground where both of us would be able to, to do things. You do what you do, I understand you, I do what I do, you understand me, but together we know that we are working together.
Okay, but you see, this is the case whereby, like I said, both of them make a lot of money. So how can the guy or the female be considered as lazy? It's not like they're not making money. They don't want to. He or she don't want to go out. They're making money, but one likes to make more, and one is not content with where they are, and the other one thinks, oh, you know what? Hey, this take care of the bills. We're comfortable. We get to eat what we want to eat. We get to travel to where we want to travel to. We should be fine. There's no need to, get through another investment or other bills. So I'm trying to understand, how does that make that a party lazy when they're also bringing in equally the same amount?
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you so much. So, the issue is, it's not like the person is lazy, but it can be in the head of one of them.
Okay.
So this is the point. I am content with what I bring home. I'm content with what you bring home. Left with me alone, stay at home, let's chill. Let's enjoy what we have. After all, there is nothing like getting enough. But you have forgotten that the person comes from a home where maybe all the siblings are having much more. So let's say all the siblings are driving 3 cars each, and she has 2 cars. She thinks that is not enough. She should go for more. So there are some things that influence how people behave. So it is about you coming to an understanding that my partner is behaving this way because of a certain background issue. It's not like the person is lazy. But what I said earlier was that people will actually think that way about their partners because they probably, do not understand where their partner is coming from. And once your ideology is different from my ideology, I get angry when I'm dealing with you. And I said that when we approach our partner with that kind of mentality, we fail to do due diligence. We fail to actually get the best from them, because we already go judging them. And the other person will think that you are sikanibre, you are being too, greedy. Already you are bringing enough. So why the rush? And that would also make the person to start, to approach you from that perspective that you are just being greedy and not that you are hardworking, you are just being greedy. So once we come to understanding of our background, I think that we will not, we would approach our partners with much more respect and understanding.
All right.
I don't know if this answers the question, though.
Well, I think it does. He will probably respond back. So, this is my question, and this is my personal question. What are some of the things to do to help mitigate the issues with the finances in the family in terms of, okay, joint account? What are some of the things that joint accounts can be used for? And if there's no joint account, how do you come together collectively to do things that will basically, help the house in terms of, the bills, spontaneous stuff that comes up, and emergencies, like you did mention earlier?
Okay, thank you so much. The issue of joint account is a very dicey one. The bankers will tell you about what happens in joint accounts. Now, in my counseling work, I have seen couples who do joint accounts, and it benefits them. I've also seen couples who do joint accounts, and it has really not been helpful. So let me explain. Joint account implies that we both have an account that belongs to both of us. If I have a bank account, it is just my account. I'm the only one who can withdraw money from it. The only other way that my wife can withdraw money from it is through maybe mobile banking or ATM and all that. But so long as the face of the person at the bank is concerned, it has to be me. I have to be there so that they will know that this is me. Assuming I am dead and gone, it will take a legal process before my wife has access to that account. That is my account. But if it is a joint account, it is both of us who own the account. Both of us have our signatures there. It depends on the mandate we give to the bank, though. Some people give the mandate that anyone can sign. Some say it has to be both signing and all that. Now, if it is a joint account, the question is, why are we keeping it? What are we keeping it for? Next question. How are we financing it? What money goes into it? And when should that money go into it? And number 3, how will we spend from it? If we are going to be putting money, so the first question I ask is, why are we doing it? Okay, we are doing a joint account so that we can use it to build a project or to build a house, to pay our children's school fees or for housekeeping. That is why we are keeping a joint account. That is fair enough. Question: how do we finance it? My employers pay me through my bank account, and yours will pay you through your bank account. However, there are some joint accounts where you can actually arrange for your employers to pay you through that. There are a few of such instances. In that case, all our monies go into that bowl. And if all our monies go into that bowl, or if my employers pay me through my account and yours will pay you through your account, the understanding is, okay, how much and how are we going to contribute? Okay, so every month you bring X amount or X percentage, and let us go and pay it into the joint account. Then the next question is, how will we be spending it? How will the money come out? Okay, the money will be spent only when there's an emergency, or the money will be used because we are keeping it for project. Every now and then we'll go and withdraw money for the project, or it is for housekeeping. Therefore, every time we go and withdraw for housekeeping. And then the mandate is either one to sign or both to sign, or whichever. We go about that. If we are able to agree on these things regarding a joint account, and we are operating on these agreements, we are good to go. However, there are a number of people who go for joint accounts and they don't have a clue what they are doing. They don't have an agreement on why they are keeping joint account. All they know is that we are married, we are together, and we need to have a joint account. And so they have it. How much should go into it? Who pays what money and at what interval? They don't have any understanding. And so the account is there. Well, there may be some money in it here and there, but Because they don't have an agreement, it doesn't work out. And of course, the issue of withdrawal and whatever, it becomes a problem. So if any couple is thinking of a joint account, they should focus on thinking, how are we going to go about it? And then they'll be able to, to come to that kind of agreement. We shouldn't just do joint account for the sake of joint account. We should do it with a purpose. And I believe that with that, we would be able to, to manage our finances, handle the joint account if it is needed, and handle our individual accounts if we have them.
Okay, so there's a question from Simeon. Simeon, allow me if I edit your question, just for it to make sense a little bit more. So Simeon says, as a Ghanaian, how do you fuse tradition into financial management in the family? Families feel, I think she meant to say feel, not feel the head of some ladies. So actually it's feel the head of some ladies, like, just understand it that way. So they feel the head of some ladies when going into marriage that unya dia fabrefie ekaba fakoma wukunu fako wukunu fie. So how do you address this issue based on the approach of families, influencing their loved ones going into marriage to bring properties and good stuff home, and also when there is a cost, let your husband handle that. I thought that proverb or that saying was on the grounds.
Has nothing to do with money.
I thought it was on the grounds of kids.
Exactly.
When kids are the property because of the matrilineal lineage.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. So that saying, and of course, the truth is that a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people actually make it look like what they are telling the women. And even some of the women, when they are getting married, that's what they think. That, oh, okay, when you get any money, you bring it home. And when you run into a debt, let your husband pay it. My dear friends, it is not about money. It has never been about money. This is part of Akan tradition. And those of you who are Akans here on this call, or even if you are not an Akan, you're a Ghanaian, and you have heard it, know it from today that when Akans say that, they are not talking about the woman taking money to her family and leaving debts for her husband. There are some people who, when they were getting married, they were told this, and then in their head, they understood it as, I need to take money to my family. And so you find them hoarding money home. My dear friends, it is not about that. In Akan tradition, children are seen as property. In other words, because it is a matrilineal system, they inherit matrilineally. Any children that are born in a marriage belong to the woman. Therefore, when she gets children in the marriage, she is supposed to bring them home. They belong to her family. That is the meaning of that statement. And I think that our elders should start, saying it well and explaining it well.
I think the saying initially is just the first part. Unya dia fabrefie. Then other people with convention, it kind of translated to unya akadia fakumokun. Or it could be like empocha from the other parties. Oh, unya dia odi kofi by unya akadia me na de breme. And it's like it has become a double saying that kind of like,
But the saying is actually the first part only.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So Simia comes back to say, how do you explain the second part? And I don't know how you're gonna. Is the second part even relevant to be there in the first place? No, if there's relevance to it, then
from the context, it is not relevant at all. All right. I mean, from the context, maybe it would mean that if you don't have children, you still stay in your husband's house, as it were. But no, it is not relevant. It's not part of the original saying. It's just something that has come, and people are using it wrongly.
Because I've heard some elderly people explaining the same explanation that you gave. That saying is people are just using that in a moment of convenience. It's like this word, usro awarijaya, unya awaripa. But that proverb is not like that.
Exactly.
Usro awarijaya, na unya awaripa.
All right.
And you see how people have coined it just for their
own
personal interest. That way, if I'm gonna walk out, it's just because of that proverb. Because I've heard people like really made emphasis on that as like those are not the proper way to put it. People just use that for their own convenience of interest. All right, I think producer will have to probably unmute everyone because I got a message saying somebody telling them that they don't know how to use the reaction button to be unmuted. So you probably just have to unmute everyone. And if you have a question now, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from and your question. Then we can proceed from there. So at this point, I think everyone is unmuted. So if you do have a question, please unmute yourself, tell us where you're calling from, and we'll take it from there. Whilst we're waiting for others to come with their questions, let me ask another question that came up. So this question is, how do we celebrate reaching financial milestones?
Is it reaching?
Yes, how do we celebrate reaching financial milestones? So I'm not sure. This is how I understood the question. Let's say, for instance, these two family has a business together, right? And the business has been successful. They just signed a new deal. How do they celebrate that financial milestone?
They should party.
Because now the money, we try to make money at the same time. Can we also celebrate while trying to make money?
Yeah, why are we making the money? We are making the money so that we become happy. So I think that when you have met a milestone, go ahead and party. There's nothing wrong with you partying. I mean, you and your wife, you and your children, you and your family partying that, we decided that by the end of this, we want to make this amount. We want to make this profit. And we have made it. So let us eat and drink and let's have fun. Let's dance. Let's just enjoy ourselves. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, I believe that once you achieve something, and this is one thing that helps marriages, celebrating small wins. Celebrating small wins. I mean, when you are able to win something, you're able to gain something, celebrate it. Let bring that understanding that, hey, we went for this and we made it, and so we are celebrating it. So there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Your favorite person has a question, but before she comes in with the question, I'd like to say this. As a theologian, Oba.
Okay.
You figured that so easily. So as a theologian, I was thinking maybe you might say, bring a chunk of that money and sow a seed to God. So why are you emphasizing on the point of throwing parties or having partying just to celebrate the milestone?
Well, now the reason I am saying so is, of course, bringing a portion to it to God is part of your financial principle. You see, I in the course of the discussion, I talked about your religious convictions. You believe that, for example, I believe in tithing. I believe that 1/10 of every increase is not mine. It belongs to God. That's my belief. So if my wife and I believe in that, and we are able to make a certain amount, 1/10 of it is for God. But we have still achieved something. We have 9 out of 10. That 9 out of 10 is ours. Yes, we can decide to say, okay, it was God who helped us, so we are given another 2 over 10 to God, or we are given another 1/10 to God as an offering. We can decide to do that, but we should be able to celebrate it. And the celebrating does not mean that you should go and hire, a band and come to. No, not necessarily. You can just decide that.
But you can go like vacations, travel.
Yeah, you can do that if the money is. You can decide that. See, let's go and buy chocolate and come and eat. Sit down and eat. Just that. Let's reward ourselves. We've done well. It brings the family together. That's the point. My concern is the family togetherness, the bonding in the family.
Okay, thank you very much. Over to you.
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
I'm going to
You
switch the topic
deserted me, but it's fine.
Oh, no. I've just been a bit busy. So, in recent conversation in the media, there's been quite a few stands with ideas and when it comes to divorce and etc. What is your take when it comes to prenuptials? Should this be something that we talk about in, especially looking from our cultural backgrounds? I mean, prenuptials. But is this something that we need to start as a country or as culture? We need to start looking into prenuptials prior to getting, involved or, tying down, especially when kids are also involved and, and so forth. I just want to know your views.
Okay, thank you so much. This is a tough one. I mean, I say it's a tough one because I have some very strong stances when it comes to planning an exit before entry. Planning an exit before entry. So, I mean, before entering it, you're already thinking of how you will exit. Now, I feel that when you plan an exit before the entry, you are, inadvertently making it difficult to stay in the midst of any little turbulence. So I often say that when you are getting married, don't plan an exit. Don't plan an exit. In other words, you should get married with the thinking that this is a permanent bond. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of perfect environment. I am an idealist, yes, but the truth is that we need to be real. Marriages are not getting the kind of permanence that we wish they have. And for that reason, it becomes difficult to say that go with the idealist mindset and go knowing that there wouldn't be a divorce. Because today divorce is on the rise, it's on the increase, and it can happen to anybody. And for that reason, it is important to keep a little bit of that at the back of your mind that, see, I am getting married to Asumesi, and I don't know what will happen. I really want to be with the person for the rest of my life. However, anything at all can happen. And because anything at all can happen, the question is, what will we do? So long as finances are concerned, what will we do regarding that? Then you take that precautionary prenuptial agreement, and then you are on the safer side. Another reason such an agreement may be important is that you may be going into the marriage with a clear mind. You know that, well, I love her, I love him, and I'm going into this marriage, and I am going into it with my all. But the other person is human, may be coming into the marriage with the mindset of, this guy is rich and I am going to rip him off his riches. So I am going to get married to him, and then when we get to a point, I'll go for a divorce and claim half of the property. For such an instance, it is important to have that agreement. Know that, hey, in case of anything, this is what you can live with or cannot live with. That understanding is important. But with these, all these notwithstanding, I am still cautious about recommending the planning of an exit ahead of the entry. Thank you.
Well, PK, can I follow up with another question? Because
Yeah, hold on. Is it on this same or you're going for another whole totally different question?
it's the same thing. It's the same topic.
Okay, then go ahead because I had a follow up for this one. So for your and I'm even be follow up in bruh.
Oh, yeah. Let me be quick.
Let her follow up, then PK, you come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So basically, the prenuptials, I think sometimes, especially
About your in and out. Can we get
hello.
the other volume? Yeah, there you go. It's better now.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'm saying is, let's say you are why it's your second time around, right? And you have children, maybe that you have
You went out again. You went out again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, better.
Is it better? Okay.
Yes.
So sometimes it's your second time around. You're not a rookie around the rodeo. So you went through one marriage. This is your second time. So I think, don't you think, say, it's an ideal topic or something to discuss, especially if you're going into another union with children, because maybe you've acquired things in your children's name, in the absence of the new one coming in. So don't you think prenuptials will clearly define, say, yeah, okay, I'm coming into this union, but these are the things I have coming into it. But moving forward, the baby piano is for both of us.
Yes, I think it is important. Especially for I'm coming in, I have this already and all that. But then the truth of the matter is that a prenup is useless for a marriage that is lasting for eternity, forever. It's useless because I had a house before I married you. I'm living in that house, and that house belongs to me. Therefore, in case there will be a divorce, this house is still mine. It is not going to be part of, if in case we want to share property, we are not going to share this house. Full stop. And that has been written down, signed between the two of you. Assuming the two of you do not get divorced, what's the use of that paper? It's useless. That's the point I want us to grasp. That a prenup is actually useless if the marriage is lasting a lifetime. But of course, there are some agreements that also include the case of death. So this is mine, and I had it before I got married to you. And it remains mine even after I die. I am not giving it to you. I want it to go, revert to my family or revert to my children or whoever. That is understandable. But where the prenup, the condition of the prenup is divorce, it becomes useless so long as there is no divorce at all. It becomes useful only when there is a divorce. And that is where my caution was coming from. That, see, if I am getting married to you and I know deep within my heart I have done all the background work and I know that I am intending to marry you forever, it doesn't matter who owns what I have, because after all, we are going to be using it together for the rest of our lives. But in the case of death, we can have that understanding that this one belongs to this. But I would rather recommend that if you have some very important properties, if you have some very important persons in your life before you are getting married, let that property be given to those people. Then I'm not a property lawyer, so I don't want to really go deep into this. But the issue is that if it is your children, register it in the name of the children. No matter what happens, it is not yours, so it is not something that will be shared as part of the split or whatever would be shared when you are no more.
Yeah, you can even do a trust for it, and when the kids are of age, automatic it would just be in their name,
Exactly.
even whilst you're still alive. About may I proceed? And now you have another follow up.
No, I'm all set. Thank you. I'm good.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So I wasn't thinking about going through this route of the conversation, but Oba brought it. And since she brought it, I guess we are all served to partake in this dinner. So before I come to even the follow up to a best point, and I was gonna make that point, you always take the brightness out of my mind, and you always still my thunder, because I was gonna talk about the fact that when prenup is important when there's death. Because actually there was a case that I was a witness to a couple years ago, and the lady came to the marriage with a house that she built on her own. The guy was very rich, so the family was after his property when he passed away. But the point is, when he was alive, he never took care of the family. So when he was gone, that was the only time the family wants to take everything, because they were under the notion that the wife kind of made him exempt himself from the family. But he was doing that from day one. When he felt like the family was toxic, he was on his own and just struggling, trying to make ends meet. Then later on got married to the wife. The funny thing is, just like Oba said, they were both coming from a previous marriage situation. So they were both in part 2 or second half of their marriage life. They had a prenup. And the prenup was a decision from the guy. Because the guy had his stuff, the lady had her stuff too. So when the family came in, they were trying to take everything. I think the guy did that to save the lady. Because the guy knew that when he's not alive, the family may do that, even when they are willed to the kids. So the guy put everything in the kid's name. They had like 2 kids together. He adopted the lady didn't have a child. He had another child before that. So all the 3 kids were willed. But the kids that belongs to the second wife, they were trying to take the property from them, because now they realize that the lady has nothing in her name. And they want to go for the lady's house that they both used to, live in and everything. And the lawyers are like, no, you guys can touch that. And honestly, that's what saved the lady. They came with 6 different kids that they claimed that were the man's kids. And I'm telling you, this kids, they were able to find kids that look just like the man. And I'm still surprised how the court did not order for a DNA to make sure if it was the man's kids or not. Long story short, those 6 kids were not the man's kids. The only kids the man ever had was the 2 with the current wife and the 1 with the past wife. But again, this is whereby another innocent woman would have been living off the street or going back to family house, because without a prenup, someone's family has taken her property away from her, thinking that is the husband's property. And it's kind of sad. But I love the fact that usually men are the ones fighting for prenups. And we have a female asking if that should be a consideration. And to me, that is a plus. This tells you that
if you can't hold on. Wasn't that usually men? Men are the ones that have to for prenup.
Yeah, usually men are the one going for prenups. Oh yeah, you didn't know that. All the celebrities that are losing, the other one doing prenups, because on best you go digger or be famisica or be fanisika. So they'll set up the prenups, or they on top of that they put everything in their mom's names. So, but this is the case whereby you have a female says, "Hey, I got my stuff, you got your stuff. I don't want anybody to misconstrue my stuff with your stuff with our stuff. So this is what it is." To me, I feel like when somebody struggles with another partner and they make life simpler, they should enjoy it accordingly. And one is not available, it should just move on to the other one. I'm not looking at here or there, whatever. And if there is a divorce, not say we nipa boni for, and you're so evil that you want to take everything to yourself and not even split or try to find a median to this situation, then life will just, posterity will judge us all. I just feel like there's some things you just don't, I don't believe in prenups. I feel like legally helps. Now, that goes to my follow-up to you. Then I'll read this question right here. That goes to my follow-up. In the case of Odobroni, Emma Miyakusia Sewa, Prof, you have been cornered. Hey, don't blame me or by your favorite person. She said she gave a very good translation. In basketball, there is a play called alley whoop. When you get set up with the ball in the air and you just dunk it. So she did alley whoop and I just have to dunk it. In the case of that, what do you think will be a possible fate of both parties?
Well,
Before you proceed, there are 3 houses I know personally. Domi Fie no, Tantra Fie no. The funny thing is, the Domi one was next to my school. The Tantra one is next to my house, and the East Lego one. So, in the case of these 3 parties, with everyone go, is it that finances were not managed well, and that is where they are with it? Because I'm pretty sure Odoboni also played a role some way somehow for Lumba to be able to do what he did for the money to come, because even housewives do have a role to play legally when they go into law. In the spirit of the law, they can tell you some of the things that they did in order for you to be able to go out there and make those money. So that can also be some restitution that comes towards that. What do you think? Then after that, read these questions.
Thank you so much. Let me comment on what you said, and then I'll come to this. I mean, the issue of the prenup being important in the case of death. I mean, that's the truth. But then, assuming I don't have a prenup, and then I die intestate. Fortunately, the law can help. And that is what should have happened in the case that you cited, where, okay, the law says that, I've forgotten the dimensions, but certain percentage.
It's 1-1-1. So it's 1 for the family of the deceased, 1 for the kids, and 1 for the spouse. In the case of multiple spouses,
the percentages differ.
Yeah, so they split all the properties into 3. That you owe.
It is over 16.
1/16 for the family.
1/16 for the family. 9 out of 16 for the children. Also something. So there is that. And the way it is, it looks like priority is given to the children. So if you are still living together as a family and you are happy as a family, that your extended family will not be able to, as it were, take away property that from you. It will still be the children and their mother or and their father, as it were. However, in the case you cited, it's like they've gone to bring other children, and like you said, I'm surprised the court didn't order for DNA, because we should be able to show that these are the man's children, whether legitimate or not. There are no illegitimate children so long as the law is concerned. So the law is actually on their side. But that notwithstanding, a prenup would have solved the problem, and in the case you cited, it solved the problem. Now, in the case of Daddy Lumba and whatever has happened after he's gone, now I think genuinely that if he had left a will, we will not be having the problem that we are having. All right. I mean, he probably would have left a will that entitled, both women and the family and whoever, for whatever. And so long as somebody played a role in your life, if the person even gave you water to drink, the person contributed to your success one way or another, and maybe one way or another entitled. However, so long as the laws are concerned, if he died intestate and he left property, the law will apply. Now, in applying the law, they would pick the issue of who is the legal wife. And that is where the discussion is now. So who is the legal wife, and what is that legal wife entitled to? And of course, I think I read somewhere that the marriage was not by customary, it was ordinance. And that makes the second marriage null and void. And that is where the legal challenge is. Now, the law is quite, funny in this way, that where there may be a leeway for some considerations. But if I am looking at the law, I will say that there is a marriage by ordinance. There is no divorce. There was a separation. But once there is no divorce, legally, that is still marriage. And so if he's no more and he's intestate, she is entitled to that which by law she is entitled to
Okay.
alone. But if the marriage, assuming the marriage was customary, it can be as many women as possible. They will all be entitled to the same percentage, whether they were wives or concubines or whatever. So, and because this case is in court, I have actually, ever since it started, I have actually refrained from commenting on it. This is the first public comment I am making on it. But I am very cautious because we are all waiting for the out. When it is family issues, I'm interested. So we are all waiting for what the court will say in this case.
So I'll say this real quick that we'll proceed. So I've been sent to the PNDC law breakdown math. And they have one for surviving spouse and children, surviving children only, no spouse, surviving spouse only, no children, and other stuff. So in the case of surviving spouse with children, is 3/16 goes to the spouse, 9/16 goes to the children, and if they are surviving parents, 1/8 goes to the surviving parents, and customary law.
And the family would take
1/8. 1/8.
Okay, 2/16.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So basically, that is what it is. Let's go to. I saw a question. Eunice said we beg. Eunice, which one are you begging of?
I am sure that comment would have come when you brought about Odobroni.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And Alex also Champo, is it the same president I'm thinking about? Says, is it a practice that couples share debt at the point of divorce, or one take the debt? That would be serious. And I think Oba responds to that. No, I think he was asking in terms of what the prenuptial was. That's Oba said assets are for children, not necessarily you. Great to you. Again, director posted the link to the chat room. If there is any other contribution, please unmute your mic, tell us where you're calling from, and ask your question. But please click on the Friends of Startup Send chat room link, and also the one of HITV, so that we can all brainstorm the topics that we want to see here on the show. And whenever Prof comes on, it's highly demand. So we just have to do what we have to do. Any question? The floor is open for everyone to ask any question that they have concerning how to manage finances in our homes. If there is no other question, I think we're already 7 minutes past our time.
I have a question. One last question, please. Does Ghana recommend traditional marriage versus, I guess, court wedding? Like either one?
So with that, what happened is Ghana recognizes polygamous marriage depending on faith, or whether you're doing the customary marriage, right? But there are these 3 different forms of marriages in Ghana, which is the ordinance, the Islamic marriage, and also the customary. But regardless of whether being religion or not, if you're Muslim and you marry 4, only one of them can be gazetted into the law. The rest of them are still your wife by marriage. Nobody can charge you with bigamy or anything like that, because customarily or religiously you've performed those rites. But the moment you decide to go ordinance and you decide to have another wife on that top of that, then that becomes illegal of the law, because your interest of how you state your marriage for the interest was under ordinance. So once you go under ordinance, that's what. But once you go under ordinance and you have another marriage without fully divorcing the first one is still active, and the second one is null and void. So yes, you can have multiple. You can have polygamous marriage. You can have 3 or 4 customary marriages, but out of your 3 or 4 wives, only one can really be gazetted into the law as the official legally wedded wife. But the rest of them can be also customary married. But the ones that the law look at is this. So in the case of what you're talking about, one is customary married. The other one has returned the customary rights, but is legally married. So it's 2 fights right now. One, who sits in public as the widow. So now we talk about the widow right, right? So now the widow right is there. And now we have another one in terms of legal. I think right now, the fight now is not about legalities of properties. The fight now is who is going to be the legal widow. So that is where the argument is. And widow right is also a legal law that happens in Ghana. But again, this is the funny thing. Traditionally, Kunayo is based on who has a member kwanso yade nsa akwa da common ebusia. Okay, so Osha traditionally na Odobronyi is the wife. Legally, Mami Akosia Sewa is the wife. So in terms of tradition and having these traditional purposes of funeral, which again, funerals are also part of our laws. How does that fit? At that point, lawyers in the bit will say, legally, traditionally, kuna maniye, legally, kuna maniye. And so in this case, in the spirit of the law, how does this translate for them to go through that? I think that's the first debate. And that is what, like I think Prof said, if there's no will for Dobroni, then egu. But if it's a will for her, then she sits.
But I thought her question was about whether one cancels the other. I thought that was what I heard her question was about.
Yeah. I was asking.
Yeah. So in that case, the truth of the matter is that
the legal cancels the customary.
If you do a customary marriage, and maybe after the customary marriage you go to court or you go to church and you sign the ordinance, it automatically cancels the customary marriage.
Yes.
So in case of divorce, if you should return the drinks and say, oh, traditionally the person is no longer my wife, you are still married in the eyes of the law because the ordinance actually canceled that customary marriage.
But Prof, do you know the funny thing? Do you know, say, customary no, you can get to Gazette by your ordinance.
Yes, you can get it, Gazette.
Get it registered,
you
but it's not ordinance.
And you can register for that one. You can register as many women as you want.
Go ahead, better. Offer for chair, baby. In case of those who don't know.
I'm speaking from the United States. Pachane.
Kaka Yanko.
I'm calling from United States of America, New Jersey. Now, macho. The question is that anti-guarantee bank run just and cry 6 years. This day woman pay. Now, so be free more.
Better than the topic.
DNA na near her say papa ne, you know, and cranny papa ne ma. And as a bakuna or now a Germany now or one bambe shiny kuno. And no sooner just a guarantee.
Better we no, I think it's better question that would hey bakuna kwatra Germany. All of just I'm hearing you could.
So been an head man.
We are same. Yeah, for a quarter, yeah, my hobby. Who can about you one or all? Prof, are you willing to get involved?
Yeah, sure. We don't have the guarantee, but for now, I think on the part of the women, I am eagerly waiting for the courts to determine. Eagerly waiting.
Okay.
For the children,
it's a learning curve.
Yes, for the children, honestly, we don't have illegitimate children. If he recognized them and fathered them in terms of socially, then they are regarded as his children too.
Okay, Prof. I had did you didn't see that I say so obaye. Director, Michelle say oh honor sign the Prof out of my na yem fed me didn't embrace so Dr. Danny, what's your maker? Oh yeah, okay.
Apike.
Okay, you prenup Dibiana and now manage finances with you.
Media ya na me tradition dinti ana Hong Kong na mehwe dia aka ne de minimum.
Oko kuboduana.
Oh, there be me modua.
Oh, okay, tradition. So when I work as an into we have to confirm. Because me say you're Christian, you know. Because of your tradition, didn't might confuse.
I said tradition, just say dua body another thing. Tradition they say. Inti doctor, better was it. So why are dear pa one found one ko 40. Microphone sense he tries and call do 40.
Me, oba na piki, that was roba.
Min can be. Oba de bisuru
Okay,
better yeah.
what the basic is
Anyway,
oba the better, yeah.
anyway, doctor, yeah, that was it for the immense education that you've given to us here, and I hope say best share beer.
All
I
right.
mean, be our bar, you do it as it is, and that was a part. See you once again.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks for hosting me. God
God
bless
All right,
bless
Prof.
you.
Prophet Asinyami Show. Ebusia for this is where we do the curtains for tonight's show, and right after that, we're going to hand over to Uncle Jimmy for him to take over the Q&A session with Tatapsen. It's been a very awesome time with you guys, and I must say big shout out to everyone who joined and shared the link. God bless you, and may this week be a flawless week for you. Basically, now don't say enkoye just because you decided to support a good cause. Next week, we will be talking about the awareness of breast cancer and also the nutrition that you have to go through with it. And we are going to be meeting or have this with our very own sister, Juliet Milt Lutrod, who is the sister of Majid Michelle, and also a survivor, cancer survivor, a breast cancer survivor. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it because this is something I'm a girl dad. So this is something we're looking forward to educate ourselves, our sisters, our kids, our moms, and also our family, our relatives. So please, the women, invite your loved ones to be a part of this. God bless you all. Big shout out to all my producers and also to everyone who joined the show. Big shout outs to A-Class, wherever you are too. God bless you. See you guys.